Their name.
Okay, just
Want to know their name.
okay. Hold on. Okay, let's we start our lessons today. Good morning, Indonesia, and good morning. Sorry, good evening, America. Meet again with me, the relative from Global Area Indonesia, Bandung, from Indonesia, and we have a mentor from Geneva, New York. New York.
Oh, my name is Carly, and I'm Julia, and I'm actually an exchange student from the Netherlands coming here for 1 semester. So I'm not an American, but I'm from Europe.
Okay, thank you, Julia. Okay, today's lesson we are going about location, asking for the. Okay, but first of all, let's introduce our participants first. Hi, hi students.
Hi.
Okay, please introduce yourself.
Okay. My name is Rohma from Indonesia.
Okay, next.
Shima, I am from Indonesia. I am 8th grade.
Okay.
My name is Indah. I am from Indonesia.
My name
Okay.
is Ahmad. I'm from Indonesia again.
Yeah. Hi, I'm in.
Okay.
We are 12th grade. I'm 8th grade. And
My name is Renata from. Okay. My name is Renata. I'm from Global Indonesia Foundation. And hello, Professor.
Hello,
How are you, Professor?
I'm doing well. Hi, Carly. Hi, Julia.
Hi, Professor. How are you
Thank
doing?
thank you for doing this. Hi,
Of course.
hi, students. Hi. Busri, thank you for doing all of this. I'm gonna disappear and go to the other one, okay?
Okay, Professor.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Let's start our lessons today. Julia, time is this.
All right, so you want us to start now? All right, so we're gonna first learn. Can you read it from the thing? I think it's in, I might be in like. Oh no, it's supposed to. It looks like it's reversed. Sorry. Thank you. So we're gonna learn locations today. Home, school, town, and we're gonna go over all of these. But these are different places and locations. Because I think the lecture. Just takes a bit. Yeah. Yeah. And just turn it like filter. Or no, I can do. So there's home, school, town, hospital, train station. Other locations. Park. Grocery store.
Lain.
Location. Should I just All right, so we're gonna go over some locations first that you'll usually go to. Yeah. Don't do too many because it's also good for them to see like what the numbers and stuff. All right, so we're gonna go over different locations first. The first one is park, which is there's the park, which is in the city, where usually you guys have some sort of green area, trees, grass, water in the city. A shop is where you buy things. For example, you can buy clothes or books or makeup or Band-Aids. Station. All right, so there's a police station. So if you have an emergency, like say somebody stole your wallet or you can't find your credit card or you got in trouble with someone, like some place where you don't feel safe or something was taken from you, you go to the police station. And then the next is the grocery store, where you buy food, like carrots, milk, bread. The next is the market. Market and grocery store, you both buy food here, but usually the market is local and local, like more local to the area, and often it's very fresh food from that specific day. Yeah. And then the cinema is where you watch movies. Like you can watch, what's the new movie that just came out? You could watch the new but Harry Potter, The Lion King, Mulan, Disney movies. It's where you go, everyone sits together and watches a movie and you pay money for it. And then, can everyone see it?
Yes.
So the next is home, which we went over last week briefly, which is where you live. So that's home, which is where you live. You go home every day to your house. School is where you go and do work. So where are you now? You're at school. So you learn. You were at home and then went to school. So it's home and school are the most two common locations. The next one is town, which is where you live. So you live in a town, so it's everyone in that area.
It's a collection of different homes together.
Like, I don't know if I'm pronouncing this right, Jakarta, that's a town or city. And I'm not going to go into town or city, but it's a specific area. And then hospital is where you go if you broke your arm or feel really, really cold or just don't feel good physically, you go there to get treated. And usually in the US, I don't know in the Netherlands for this, but they'll have this white cross. Technically, it'll be a red cross, but this will be the sign for a hospital in the US. Is that the same in the
It's in the same in the Netherlands. In the entirety of Europe, if you don't understand the language, but you see this sign, you know that they will help you and treat you when you're sick or need something.
And then the last one is train station, where it's just where it's where you go for trains and you take a train ride.
So when you want to travel, especially for further distances, you can go to a train station, catch a train, and go to a different city or a different town, as we discussed before.
So do you guys want to go? So we're going to go over it again, read these out, and I want you guys to pronounce them back to me, okay? Does that sound good? All right, perfect. All right. So the first one we have is park.
Okay. Park.
Police station.
Police station.
Grocery store. Market. Home. School. Town. Hospital. Train station. Do you guys have any clarification questions so far, or want to go over anything first?
Do you have any questions about the police station and others? Do you have any questions about that? Ada penyakit nggak? No. Okay, let's continue.
Perfect. So here, actually, since we don't have to move this, let's go now. Before. Okay. All right. So now we're going to go over directions. So directions is, say you're in a city, such as where we live, which is Geneva. The capital in Indonesia, which is, I really hope I'm spelling this right. Did I spell that right?
Yes.
Yeah. So the directions is, say you're in Geneva or Jakarta and you need to use English, how are you going to get around and ask people how to get around in the city if you don't know where something is? So basic things to know are, can you see? Yeah. Okay. So left hand, right is your right hand. So, and then forward. And then anything else that you want to say?
You can say like the second straight on your left.
Left, right, like anything, just like, oh, it's to your right or to your left, in front of you. Above. Oh, yeah.
And under.
Behind. Above or above?
Oh, yeah. All right. So here are basic,
In the front.
Terus sering ulangan above.
Yeah, or like,
Above.
so here are basic words you're going to hear for direction. So there's left, Are you guys able to repeat that? Left,
Left.
right,
Right.
forward, or in front?
Forward or
Behind,
behind.
above,
Above.
and below.
We can
So-
repeat.
These terms are going to be used in basic conversation. So say you're at HWS and you don't know where Stern Hall is. You can say, where is Stern Hall? And they will say, Stern Hall is right in front of you, which means like this computer is right in front of me. Or they can say Stern Hall is to, if you're facing this way, this is the right. This is the left.
Oh, yeah.
And so in basic conversation, people are asking questions. They'll say, it's to the right or to the left, or they'll say, take a right and then take a left. So that's how people say directions. And here are different ways you can ask for directions and how directions are going to be told. Are we clear on that stuff so far? Okay, so the first one is, where do I find?
Where do I find?
And you could, for example, use the words that we practiced in the beginning. So where do I find the store? Or where do I find the school?
Yeah, so if you say, where do I find the hospital? And say you go up to someone on the street and you think you broke your arm and you say, excuse me, where do I find the hospital? They say, the hospital is, and now in most US cities, we define blocks as how many streets. So if this is the city, one section. Oh, can I not?
Not again.
So if you're taking like, there's a street through here, this is one block, this is the second, this is the third. So it's all these rows of houses. So that's, if they say it's 2 blocks away, there's streets here and streets here. And if you're standing here and they say it's 1 block, you go up and you walk up to the next street that's available. So anything between, so it's usually 2 streets and then a set of buildings in between the streets, and that is a block. So they would say the hospital is 2 blocks to the right of you. Yeah, that's what I was gonna Oh, if that makes sense. What is it? Are we talking about blocks still? Oh, okay, that's what confused me. Because I was using blocks in the.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah.
No, that's okay. So, can you guys see this? All right. So this is the first block. Third, and all these in between are streets. So if you're standing here and the hospital is here, and there are all more houses and more streets on this side, and you walk to someone and you say, excuse me, where do I find the hospital? They can say the hospital is 2 blocks to the right. So you would go up 1 block, 2 blocks, and this would be the hospital, and it would be on your right. So you would be walking up this street, and it would be to the right and not to the left. Does that make sense so far? Usually most cities are laid out almost like a checkboard in a sense, like this. These are roads, and everything in between here is buildings. And especially if you're in places like New York City, they'll give directions saying based on how many blocks. So this is a block, and then whatever is to the right of where you're standing. So that's a good thing to know. And then other questions for directions, like where is, I think I just wrote that down. Where is, and you would ask that, and they could say blank is, and then for example, a lot of the times, like if you're in Geneva, and say for example, I ask Julia, I say, where is the grocery store?
I could answer, this grocery store is on your left, meaning on that side.
Julia could also say, if I'm like, excuse me, where is the grocery store? She could say the grocery store is on, say, State Street. And a lot of the times, when you ask someone for directions for a specific place, they'll say it's on a specific street. So it could be, say the grocery store is on State Street, but the hospital is on Kind Street. So I'll draw you guys a map. We're going to do a little activity right now, and we're going to have a map, and we're going to say what these different locations are and how to get to them. So.
Yes, and then you can the park.
And then these are all streets. Yeah, should we finish?
Yeah, we could be like, have a little story. And then afterwards, we could be like, where are we going?
Do you want to start while I'm just finishing writing the different streets and stuff?
Okay, so I'll just first explain what the map looks like. So this is home. This is the park. We have the school here, the hospital, and the grocery store. So on a normal day for me, I go from home to school. So I leave my house and I go up the street, and to the left, there is the school. I stay there almost the entire day, but at the end of the day, I go to the grocery store to get food. That's right here. And then if it's a sunny day, I can decide to cross the street, and then in front of me, I have the park. And then I can go back to the right, cross Pulteney Street, and then go back home. Does everyone get that?
So, for example, if say Julia has never been to the park before, and she's trying to find the park, and she's walking back from school to her house, and she says, "Excuse me, where is the park?"
So if she asks, excuse me, where's the park? And he is right here. Someone could always say, oh, the park is 1 block ahead of you or 1 block in front of you. So this is 1 block. And so they can say 1 block ahead. Or they could say it's to the left on Main Street. On Pulteney Street. So these are different examples of how, if you don't know how to get somewhere, how someone would respond differently based on where they could stay. So they could say, based on directions, it's to your right, or to your left, or behind you, or in front of you. Or they could say it's a block ahead, behind, a block to the right. Or they could say it's on a specific street. So these would be different responses you would get. You ask someone how to find something. Do you guys want to do a little practice round? Do you want to go to the practice round?
Okay.
A little story. So just be like, oh, we're gonna start from home. Then they have to say the directions. So they could say, we walk onto Main Street, walk up, and take a left to get to school. So if we do a little practice round, and we start our day from home, and we want to go to the school, and I'm standing here in front of my home, how do I get to the school?
Okay, students. How do I get to school? The student from Cirebon first, would you like to answer? Cirebon? Okay. Wait, Carly. Wait. Okay, students from Cirebon, would you like to answer? How do I get to the school? Okay, please answer.
So the school is three blocks. 1 block to the left.
Yeah, that is really good. So 1 block, this is 1 block, and then to the left, and I get to the school. Perfect. I go from school to the grocery store to get my food. So I'm standing in front of the school. How do I get to the grocery store, which is right here?
Okay. Wait, Julia, student from Tasikmalaya, would you like to answer? Student from Tasik, answer. How do I get from the school to the grocery store? Please.
Student go to school.
So here you are. Go down. So this is your path. So this is 1 block, and this is your 2nd block. So you would say I go 2 blocks down, and then to the right, where you would find the grocery store. So 2 blocks down, and then to your right.
Okay, do you understand?
Yes.
Yeah? All right.
Yes.
You want to try that again?
Let's try another.
You're at the grocery store, and you just realized that
someone run over your toe with a shopping cart and you need to go to the hospital, you would say, how do I get to the hospital? So you would start here and you would need to get here. How would you guys do that?
Okay. Start from student from Cirebon first. How do I get from the grocery store to the hospital? Okay, please answer.
One block then turn left.
Go 1 block and to the left. Okay, how is it, Kari, Julia? Is it correct? Go 1 block and go to the left. Is it right?
Yes, to the left. That is perfect. Really good job, guys.
Next questions.
So last one, if I want to get from the hospital back home, how do I do that?
Okay. The question is, yes.
From the hospital to home.
1 block. 1 block.
Yes, 1 block. Or would it be 1 block to the left, 1 block to the right, 1 block behind, or 1 block in the front?
To the left? Okay. From Cirebon, what is your answer?
What is your
The question is from the hospital to back to your home. How do I get from the hospital back to your home?
Tadi kita ditanyain, ya udah, jangan jawab lagi.
Okay, what is your answer, students?
Across.
Yes, perfect. That is really good. Nice job, guys.
Okay.
All right. So,
Okay, good.
So like, start asking questions to each other. Okay. They would look at it and be like, how would you get to the park to the school? Or how do I get physically? Yeah. So we're gonna do little practice rounds and stuff. So
Okay.
All right, so you guys are going to do some practice rounds on your own where there's going to be, so P1 stands for person 1 and P2 stands for person 2. So it's going to be groups of 2 and P1 is going to be the first person who asks a question and then P2 will be the second person who responds. So say person 1 will ask, how do I get to the hospital? Well, person 2 will respond with, how do I get to the hospital from home? And then person 2 would respond, so you would write like, so person, just ask different, so like, how do I get to the hospital from blank? And then person 1 will be like different. So person 1 will ask, how do I get to the hospital from home? And person 2 will respond, go 1 block across and to the left. While person 1, and then you guys will switch roles. And whoever asked the question now, whoever responded, person 2 will be person 1. So basically,
if I asked Julia, I'm like, Julia, how do I get to the hospital from home? She would respond with, you have to go 1 block across. Oh, to the hospital.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh my God, I'm sorry. And then now, since I asked the question and Julia responded, Julia would then start with a new question and ask, for example, how do I get to Mark from home? And I would respond with, you would go 1 block behind you and to the right. So basically, you guys are just going back and forth asking, how do I get from one place to another? So first person asks a question, second person responds, and then you guys switch off. So you each get to ask a question, you each get a response. So we're just writing a couple samples right now for you guys that you guys can practice. Does that sound good? Do you guys have any questions on this so far? Like anything we've learned so far or about the practice rounds we're about to do?
Okay, let's go practice then. I'd like to hear from students from Cirebon and students from Tasikmalaya. How about that? You ask each other. How about that?
Walk behind and it'll be
Kali.
Yeah.
Hello, Kali.
Yeah. What's up?
How about the students from Cirebon ask to the student from Tasikmalaya, and so the student Tasikmalaya, you also ask Cirebon. How about that?
Yeah, so we're gonna have like one person ask a question at a time and one person respond, because it can be like hard if everyone's asking it once and everyone's responding.
Okay.
Yeah, so we can stick to these first, and if you guys want to go after, because I know the last 15 minutes are questions. All right. So here are, so the first person who wants to go first wants to be person 1. So these are 2 different ones. So only read for this one first and then this one. So these 2 are different. So we will practice it with I asked Carly, how do I get from the hospital to the hospital from home? And she would answer. Can you guys see this okay?
Guys, can you see the blackboard there?
Can you see what's written on there?
Not so clearly. And there is not too clearly.
Yeah, I got it. Can you read it now?
Okay.
So,
Is it better?
No.
Okay, let's start.
how do I get to the hospital from home is the first question.
Okay.
The response would be, you have to go 1 block across.
Yeah.
So the first person can ask the question.
How do I get to the hospital from home?
Okay. Who will gonna be the first person? Students from Cirebon or Tasikmalaya? Cirebon? Okay, Cirebon will be the first person and Tasikmalaya will answer the question. Okay, please, students from Cirebon.
How do I get to the hospital from home? Jangan from.
Okay.
How would you respond to this one? You have to go 1 block across. I got it. Are you guys able to say this again? You have to go 1 block across. So if I ask you guys, how do I get to the hospital from home? what would you guys say?
You have to go one block across.
Perfect. Nice job, guys. All right. Then the second question. Yeah. 3. What time do we end at again? 9, 10?
Yeah. We still have
Yeah. What time do we end again?
10. 10.
10, 10.
Okay, 10. We still have time.
It is
Yeah, we have about like 15, 20 more minutes.
one block.
So we can do this and then repeat, and then you guys can ask questions. So the second question would be, how do I get from home to the park?
It is one
Can someone
block.
repeat that?
Okay, now the first person will be from Tasikmalaya, and the second person will be from Cirebon. How about that?
Yes.
It is one block. And it is one block. Then you end.
No.
How do
So we first go to the question, how
I
I get
get
from home
home to the
park?
To the park.
Really, you guys say that again?
Okay, repeat. How do
how do I get from home to the park?
Awesome, you guys. And your response would be the following. It is 1 block
And
and to the right.
and
So could you repeat that for me?
it is one block behind you and to the right.
Really good. Good job.
good
All
job?
right. Do you guys want to go over it again, or just move to the question part?
Students, this if you have you have the questions from Cirebon, please.
Yeah. We want to read.
Let's grab up chairs. Hi. Here, you can always sit in the chair because now we can sit if it's just questions. Oh yeah. You take the chair. Oh no, I can pull over. It's fine.
Okay, what's your questions?
We want to read it.
Oh, you want to read it again? Oh. Can you see it now?
Yeah. No. Unclear. Oh yeah.
All right, you guys want to go again? Okay.
Dan. Under dikit.
Or just
Maybe the next questions. The second questions, Carly, Julia. You want to repeat the second questions?
oh, the second question? Yes. Oh, okay. The second question is over here. It's my handwriting. It's really small. I'm sorry. The question is, how do I
From home
to the
park.
Really good. Awesome. And then your answer would be, it
is one block
block behind
you and to the
right.
Yeah, really good. All right, do you guys want to do that one more time by yourselves?
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Ibu.
All right.
How do I get from home to park?
Yes, really good.
It is
one block behind you and to the right.
very good.
Yeah, really good. All right. Do you want to go over anything again or questions?
Okay.
I think
Do you still have any questions, students?
no question.
No.
All right. Let's go to the question time then. Sri, you've had fun with this before, I know.
Okay. And we still have 6 minutes left. So let's go to another questions. Students, you can ask anything to them. Please. 3 questions. Okay, raise your hands if you want to ask. Who are going to ask? Students from Tasikmalaya, do you want to ask something?
And if they don't know how to ask the question in English, they can always tell it to you.
Me.
Okay, student from Cirebon. Okay, what is your questions?
What name of your university in American?
The name of our university is Hobart and William Smith colleges. I go to a different university, which is called University of Maastricht.
Oh, you're from different university. Okay, Julia, thank you for your coming. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Okay, what else do you want to ask to them?
Me.
Like I'm here.
Me.
Okay,
Where do you live?
where do you live? Julia or Carly?
We can answer both on campus or
Maybe.
in our home, like on campus or off campus.
Oke, di rumahnya apa di kampusnya?
Rumahnya home.
Okay, your home, your hometown.
Oh, okay. So I am from Acton, Massachusetts. So Massachusetts is the state. So I'm from America, but I live in the state Massachusetts, and I'm from Boston, which is the city.
Dari Amerika.
From Massachusetts. Okay. Julia.
I'm from the Netherlands, from a really, really, really small town, and I live in a farm with my parents.
Wow, beautiful. And I think it's a really beautiful town. Okay.
Is it hard to say? I think I was like, it's probably or just hard for us to understand.
Okay, students, do you still have any questions to them? We still have
Istirahat deh.
3 minutes left. Okay, students from Cirebon, would you like to ask something?
Carly, do you know Van Persie?
Do I know what? Van Persie, yes. He's a football player. He's from the Netherlands. He's from my home.
Me too. There. Yes.
Tidak salah.
If you don't know how to ask in English, you may ask in Indonesia. It's okay. Okay, you want to ask again? We still have 2 minutes left. Kalau nggak bisa bahasa Inggrisnya di Indonesia aja. It's okay. Okay. Yang mau nanya?
What weather
Ini.
Okay.
what is the weather there?
Oh, weather. They're asking about the weather in Geneva.
It's cold. Not like, it's like cold and chilly, so a lot of wind. And there's a lot of rain at the moment.
Okay. Windy. Is it windy there?
Yeah, it's windy and rainy. And
rain. Oh, and really humid, right?
how's it in Indonesia?
Rain.
Rain.
We are into training sessions. Training sessions.
Ya.
Yang acung dulu acung.
Acung.
Okay, please.
Tadi kamu apa?
Miss, may I interest message for siapa? One versi?
Iya.
Message. Okay, please.
May I interest a message for one versi?
What?
Hello, do you know what
Message.
Oh, really?
You want us to message?
That's hilarious. Oh my god. Have you met her?
Julia. Okay, what kind of
may I ask?
from Cirebon?
What?
No way, that was him. Yeah. I love it how everyone knows. Like as soon as I get
It's
Dutchman, I know who you're talking
do we still have time?
about. I think we can ask one more question and then we gotta go.
Okay. They ask one more questions. We are going to ask to them. And we end the session.
For Julia, Miss. For Julia. Miss Julia. How last time America?
How is America?
What?
In Netherlands, last time.
Lifestyle in the Netherlands is very similar to America. It's just like it's really small compared to here, and we eat less.
What is the
Eat less? Oh, why? Why you
Because
eat
in
less?
America they eat a lot. People eat a lot here. That is very true.
Wow. Okay, what kind of food do you like? Julia, your favorite food?
Oh, my favorite food in America is donuts.
Donuts. Oh, what flavor?
I dislike. I like it. I dislike. You know, donut is nggak enak. Not nice. Not nice.
You don't like them? But they're so sweet.
No, nggak enak.
Yes.
Not delicious. Delicious.
One student say delicious and one student no. Says no. They have different flavor.
What?
My favorite flavor is chocolate. I love chocolate.
I love it.
I love.
I love it too. I like chocolate.
They love it too.
I
They like chocolate.
Me too.
Okay, Kali, how about you? Kali, do you like donuts?
I love donuts. I've had apple cider donuts, which are
Okay, what kind of flavor?
it's good. It's like donuts with like sugar on the outside and cinnamon. So it's like a donut rolled with sugar and cinnamon.
Okay, I think it's really okay. I think our time is over. Thank you very much for your coming, Kali, Julia. Thank you very much to you
Of course.
students.
Thank you,
Yeah,
students.
Thank you, Carly. Thank you.
Thank you very much to America and morning from Indonesia. Okay, see you next
Hey, you still have
Friday. See you next Friday for Kali and Julia. And see you next Saturday for Himalaya and Cirebon. Okay, bye. See you next. Bye.
He was in it.
Okay.
Bye.
Okay, bye. Thank you very much.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.